the world used to treat me like absolute shit because I treated myself like shit. Everyone could smell that I didn't have any confidence, any internal sense of self-worth, which made me a very easy target to pick on and take advantage of. It got to the point where even my nerdy video game playing dorks that I used to work with in IT would make fun of me because I was just that much of a weak little pussy. I was living a completely sad and lonely life. I shut myself off from the world, didn't really have any friends, had like couple close mates who I would see every few months, who I would have very little interaction with, because I just wanted to retreat into myself. I didn't have any desire to interact with the world, because honestly, I felt like the world didn't deserve to interact with me. I felt like I didn't deserve to have company because I was such a worthless loser that I didn't want to force my presence upon anyone. And it even got to the point where all my social interactions, they carried this negative energy in them, this weight, this burden of deep cringe, where I would stumble, stutter, make a complete fool out of myself, or so I thought, and then just leave the interaction feeling so awkward and cringing at myself for forcing my conversation upon them. I was a complete outcast everywhere I went. I was shunned by everyone because I rejected myself before the interaction even began. I would look in the mirror with deep disgust. Like, I loathed myself to such a great extent that I would constantly repeat the mantra, I hate my life, no wait, I hate myself. I would toss and turn awake at night, unable to sleep because I was tormenting myself, reminding myself what a worthless loser I was, and I genuinely started to believe that I didn't even have what it took to change my life and get out of this mental hell. Now I sit before you with the world treating me very well now. Everywhere I go, I just get immediate respect from the people I meet, and it feels good. Yeah, it feels good to get complimented on my physique, my energy, my charisma, not just how I look, but my character traits that allowed me to become how I look. It feels good, and I'd love to get on here and act all cool and say I don't care about the validation of others, but that would be a lie, and I don't lie to myself. I'm not one of these guys who say I don't care about the opinion of others, even though they deeply care about the opinion of others, and they're just trying to deny it, and they're using this non-validation as a form of validation to try and increase their status by being this sigma male who doesn't care about the opinions of others. No, I'm not like that. I acknowledge that it feels good. It feels amazing to have the the praise and the approval of others, especially the guys that count, the guys who you respect. When they respect you, it's an amazing feeling. It's a better feeling than getting attraction and validation from women. But I didn't just click my fingers and make this transformation. No, it actually took me way longer than it had to. I wasted absolute years just banging my head against the wall in frustration, trying to figure it all out alone, trying to put bits and pieces together, really confused. I didn't know whose system to follow or whose advice I should listen to. I was essentially blown around like a leaf in the wind, and it took me way too long. I could have got into this internal state so much sooner and already started making way more progress towards leveling up the rest of my life, becoming financially independent, free, and having a greater impact on the world. But hey, I don't live in regret, because even though it took me way too long, it taught me so many lessons that I can then condense back to you and allow you to go through the same process way quicker than I did. So, with that being said, here is exactly what I would tell my younger self, who was desperately depressed, deeply unconfident, and fucking hating himself, to make a transformation and feel incredible on a day-to-day basis, just in love with the process, working towards his goals. First things first, before anything, I think it's important we learn the letting go technique. This is something that I picked up from David Hawkins in his book, Letting Go, where you stop trying to do battle with your thoughts. You stop always trying to switch negative spirals in your head and flip them positive, because that takes so much energy and it's not very effective. But rather, you do battle. You don't even do battle. You attack. You don't attack. You focus on the root cause, not the thoughts themselves and the words that are going on in your head, but the emotions behind those thoughts and the feelings you get that arise, the physical sensations. You know exactly the ones I'm talking about. This tense knot of guilt in your stomach, the throbbing in your chest of fear. All emotions can be traced back to a physical feeling in your body, and the letting go technique suggests that you should stop trying to do battle with the thoughts that are conjured up because of these feelings, but rather just focus on the feelings themselves. Allow the sensations to overcome your body. Experience them fully. Just accept them. Don't try to change them. Just sit with it. Allow it to flow through your body fully. And as it does so, realize that it actually goes away. These emotions are a wave, and this wave comes and goes. You don't have to try and do battle with your thoughts. When you accept the emotions, let them pass, and just immediately feel better. It's a revolutionary, life-changing technique that allows you to improve your internal state like that. Learn this daily technique and practice it daily. I didn't mean to say learn this daily technique. Learn this technique and practice it daily. It really is this simple. And if I knew this earlier, this would have been the best foundation to start building everything else upon it with just so much more ease, less friction. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, when we're controlled by our emotions, we can't move forward in any area of life, because we'll always be going through these crazy yo-yo up and downs, always being pulled one way or the other. No, we must become a master of our emotions, and what better way than this letting go technique. If you want to learn more about it, then you can read the book, David Hawkins, Letting Go. It's a phenomenal read, absolutely life-changing. So once we have a better grasp of our emotions, here's what I'll tell you to do. Set your alarm for 4 a.m. every single day and rise, no matter how you feel. Maybe it doesn't have to be 4 a.m., but it has to be early enough that makes you feel uncomfortable. Preferably early enough to get to experience the dark, quiet stillness of the early morning when the world is still sleeping, and you can do some deep introspection, work on yourself, get those hours of solitude. It feels unreal. I will never go back. There's something magical about those hours. There's also something magical about staying up late and working, but yeah, there's no feeling quite like it. And once you set that morning alarm that you stick to, no matter how you feel, that you rise, no matter how many hours of sleep you got the night before, it starts to chisel your self-worth and shift your identity into the disciplined guy who does what it takes, who doesn't care about his feelings, who simply executes. It's a truly life-changing habit. And on top of that, get yourself a morning routine. It doesn't have to be something crazy, some fancy 20-step system of biohacking and doing all of this complex bullshit that takes 3 hours. No, it should be simple, basic. It should work on your biggest bottleneck right now. If right now you're a completely undisciplined mess and you can't even train consistently, then go outside, do some push-ups, do some basic exercise just to get into the habit of doing daily training. Definitely, no matter what stage you're at, I would always recommend a cold shower. I would always recommend some kind of meditation. Right now, what I do, because my biggest bottleneck is my ADHD monkey mind who loves to switch around and jump from thing to thing, what I've done is just cut out all of the complexity. The first thing I do when I wake up is I get up into the cold shower. I come and weigh myself to track my weight and my progress. Then I sit and I meditate for 15 minutes. Just a very simple, focusing on the breath, allowing my thoughts to drift and then returning them back to the center. Then I set a timer for half an hour and I stare at the wall. This is phenomenal for just resetting my dopamine baseline, just being okay with boredom and stillness. And funnily enough, it's not actually that boring. It's what I like to call tactical overthinking, so that my mind isn't all turbulent and chaotic when I'm actually sitting down to do work. No, I get the overthinking out of the way first, and then I just sit down and act upon what I know I need to do. That's my morning routine. So simple, so basic, and yet highly effective. No magic will come from a specific morning routine. The magic will come from sticking to the exact same morning routine for days upon weeks upon months, and only changing one variable at a time after you've run it long enough to gather data and see what it actually makes you feel like. Believe me, I've made the mistake of switching up every single day, and therefore whatever benefits I would have got, I didn't, because the main benefits is just becoming that disciplined, consistent motherfucker who repeats the same shit over and over again. Next, what I would tell myself to do is to experience a multi-day fast. Minimum 3 days, 0 food, just water, salt, maybe some coffee. And I wouldn't try to run from the discomfort. I wouldn't try to distract myself and make it go as quickly as possible. No, fully experience the hunger and enjoy it. Sit with it. Again, integrate the letting go technique into this experience and just accept your hunger, embrace it, and enjoy it. And then the skills you learn in your fast of dealing with hunger, that's what you will use throughout the rest of your journey. Because the ability to control your impulses and not give in to every single craving you have is just massive for self-mastery and progress in all areas of life. Once you come out from this 3-day fast, you feel more clear, you have a lot more discipline and mastery. It's time to start dropping your vices one at a time. Don't cut everything all out at once. I've done that, and that makes you very easy to just return back to exactly the way you used to be. You're good for 2-3 days, maybe a week, and then before you know it, boom, you're masturbating 7 times a day again, smoking weed all day, stuffing your face with junk food. No. See your biggest vice, the thing that is the hardest to give up right now, and drop it. Of course, you can brute force it. You can obviously try to give up everything all at once, and if you have immense willpower, you can white knuckle your way, but it's very difficult to do, and you most likely don't have what it takes. Otherwise you would have already done so and it would already be working. Drop one vice at a time. Start with the hardest first, but the way to make dropping vices effortless is to have something else to work on the side that makes them impossible not to quit. To shift your identity to the point where it's not even something you crave anymore. To make your life so enjoyable that you don't even need it. You're not trying to escape because you have nothing to escape from. And it's also very important to learn what feeling you're trying to run away from that you're covering up with this vice. What deep emotional trauma you're escaping from. All of that shit is really complex, and I can go on for hours and hours and hours, and honestly it requires way more structure than just a random point in a video, so I'm gonna move past that. But the point is, drop your vices, man. You can move forward, accelerate as hard as you want, but if your handbrake is still on, you're not gonna go anywhere. And that's what your vices are. They're the handbrake that remove the momentum from actually being able to move forward. So another vice that you might not even be aware of that is a vice is consuming flesh, eating meat. I've recently went vegan 3 months ago, and I can't believe it took me this long even to give it a go. I was terrified of trying it because I had this identity of being a meat-eating, high testosterone, alpha savage, whatever you want to call it. But funnily enough, even when I was carnivore and I was animal-based, I was still a pussy. Your diet matters for sure, but unless you have the right mindset, no diet will make you a savage. And honestly, if I had to go back and do it all again, I would go vegan way sooner, just to experience what it was like, just to get the discipline from being dialed in, because it's way easier to get all of your micronutrients when you are eating beef and eggs. But when you are vegan, you have to be that much more dialed and disciplined so that you don't feel like shit and you're not nutritionally deficient. But even more than that, it lightens your soul. It makes you feel way more energized and just at peace with yourself, because you're no longer going through this cognitive dissonance. Because most people know that factory farming is disgusting and that consuming flesh is just inherently doesn't sit right with you when you actually know the process that it takes to get this food onto your plate. And I think more people should go vegan. I think the world should be vegan, to be honest with you. But that's exactly what I would do. I would go back and I'd go vegan sooner, and I'd learn more about the ethics behind it, and how to actually get all of your nutrients and feel amazing without animals, plant-based. So you're a lot more emotionally stable. You have more control. You have less vices. You are now powered by plants. What's the number one project you should work on to supercharge your confidence, take it to a new level? Fix your physique, man. Stop going through all of these bulking, cutting cycles of yo-yo dieting, inconsistent inputs of crazy highs, crazy lows. No. Get a ripped, sexy physique year round so that you can always have high confidence, high energy, but do it in a way where you can just feel mentally sharp without all of this brain fog from bodybuilding, diet, and just stay razor sharp year round. Always see your abs, always have veins, so that your energy isn't inconsistent, so that your self-worth isn't fluctuating. Do it once. Go through the physique roadmap once, and then that's it. That's all you need to do. Go through a stabilization phase where you go back to maintenance with your calories. You stabilize your inputs to the point where you fix all of your nutritional deficiencies. You get a consistent routine. You fix your calendar, you fix your sleep, and you just level out instead of riding this crazy yo-yo up and down. Then you go through a light shred phase, start cutting off the excess body fat. Then you go through a deep shred phase where you get the most ripped you've ever been. You see the deepest abs you've ever had, the craziest veins everywhere, just feel unstoppable. And then you reverse back out with the skin bursting phase. Just hold it as long as you want to maintain this crazy look. And then start a lean gain phase where you're slowly building quality tissue. You might gain a little bit of fat, but you're still looking sharp, way sharper than the average bloated gym bulker. You remove the word bulk from your vocabulary. You just look good year round. Then, next thing's next, you're gonna stop consuming content. I know it's a very hard thing to do when you're bombarded all day, every day. It's a really hard vice to drop, but you might not even believe it's a vice because you tell yourself, yeah, it's educational. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm watching self-improvement YouTube videos. I'm learning. Are you though? How much of what you're learning are you acting upon? And how much is that action getting you consistent results? It's all great to educate yourself, but mainly it's great to listen to content to inspire you, to help you find that one guy who you really resonate with, who has some kind of result that you already want, so that then you can join their program, their one-to-one coaching, their course, whatever you can afford, just to get into as close proximity to them as possible, so that they can just speed run your journey and help you make just infinite progress way faster than trying to fit bits and pieces together and work it all out for yourself. Content is great for helping you unlock a new level of thinking, but you're never ever going to get that full level of consciousness that you need to get those results unless you get into close proximity to those guys and spend time with them and see how they think, being able to ask them questions and get specific advice tailored to your exact situation. seriously, being in this content rabbit hole is gonna create so much confusion, and the action that you take will be sporadic. You'll overthink everything. Just cut it out, man. It's a vice, believe me. You don't need it. You need clarity. You need to spend way more time with yourself, connecting with your intuition, and hearing the voice of God tell you what you need to do as a plan, getting connection with what steps you need to take, but going to the guys who have the results for the specific action that those steps require. Seriously, the more you can reduce the noise, the more you can sit in the silence, be with solitude and just introspect, the quicker everything is gonna piece together and you're gonna be able to know what you need to do. This is when you have to really start considering what your purpose is in this world. Forget about what society wants from you. Forget about what your fucking favorite guru's telling you to do and what business model he's telling you to get into, because it's what's trending right now and what will get you the most amount of money the quickest. Forget about what your parents, what your peers are telling you to do. No, connect with your own unique, authentic purpose and take it one step at a time. Stop trying to think 10 steps ahead and see the entire path laid out in front of you. Get a minimum viable purpose that you can act upon today. It doesn't have to be the final product, like I say already, just whatever feels like it's calling you the most right now, just start acting upon it. And the more you act, the more you work on all of these steps where you're developing yourself, the more you master yourself, the more your purpose will uncover it, and the more action you take on that minimum viable purpose, the more steps ahead you will see. Right now, your purpose is you. If you are in this low level of unconfident, undisciplined, feeling like shit, then your biggest purpose is just feeling better about yourself, mastering yourself. And then as you do so, I would highly suggest documenting the journey, getting out your camera and just filming authentically exactly how you are right now, so that you can look back over time and see how much progress you've made, but even more importantly, so that you can help inspire others and raise the level of consciousness in this world. So, just act, man. Just act on whatever is calling you. Just get into the habit of getting an idea and executing upon it with as little time delay as possible. Once you've started going through all of these steps that I've laid out, you're leveling up very fast and hard, people are noticing, believe me. Every social interaction becomes easier because you're not going into them with all of these mental burdens of low self-worth. No, you believe that it is their privilege to interact with you, that you are gifting your presence upon the world, but that doesn't mean that you might still not have some kind of poor social skills to work on, because it's very important now to integrate back into social life and not become a weird self-improvement autist who's sitting on monk mode alone in his room but who can't speak to people. No, it's very important to speak to anyone and everyone as much as possible. Start out slowly, just build basic rapport with people. Hi, how's your day going? To as many people as possible. I'm not saying you have to have a massive social circle and start making all of these intimate connections and making all these friends. No, as a matter of fact, I do believe that the fewer friends you have, but the higher quality those friends are, the better. However, you can make acquaintances with loads and loads of people and just have surface level interactions with the world. So it's a great way to live, man. It's just a great way to boost your mood and your confidence in yourself to be able to speak to anyone and everyone about anything and everything. Yeah, as you go about your day, you don't have to force it. Just while you're at the gym, speak to this guy, speak to that guy. Don't waste time. Still have boundaries. Still, time your rest period between your sets, and then when it's over, just be like, yeah, you're all right, mate. Yeah, I got to go back to my workout. It was nice speaking to you, and whatever. Just become socially competent. It's an unmatched skill to have in this world when everyone's looking down at their phones and nobody can hold eye contact and give a firm handshake. It's pathetic. So don't be like that. Be the outlier who's completely socially confident, doesn't have any limiting beliefs about interacting with others. Face discomfort every single day. Go through predictable pain and unpredictable pain. The predictable pain is the early morning wake-ups, the cold showers, the hard, intense training sessions, sticking to your nutrition plan despite not wanting to. It's all of that disciplined shit of sticking to your routine. That is the predictable pain, because you know it's going to suck and you know how it's going to feel, and you know how to make yourself just snap back into the rhythm. But while you're doing so, integrating this letting go technique that I began the video on, that's going to make everything smoother, because when you get that negative feeling of, oh, I don't want to do this, you can just sit with it and then boom, it's fine, it's just a feeling, I will act anyway. I'll let the feeling pass and then move with speed and conviction. But there's also, as well as the predictable pain, there's the unpredictable pain of facing rejection, facing uncertainty, facing failure, going out into the world and feeling conflict of, again, things not going your way. And what's the best ways to experience this feeling of uncertainty? It's honestly starting a business where you're interacting with people, where you need to get customers, or working in sales. Doing sales changed my life. When I was doing face-to-face charity fundraising, that was an amazing experience that took my social confidence to a new level and got me comfortable with rejection and uncertainty. Cold approach, being able to just go up to a woman you find attractive, being open and honest with her, saying, I think you're very beautiful, what's your name, how, and then just having a conversation. Doing that as a habit, all of these things to go through the pain of uncertainty and predictable pain on a daily basis, that's going to level you up super fast, because hardship and uncomfortable, painful experiences are what really shape you if you allow them to. Life can happen, right? You can get just absolutely bitch slapped by the world with a whole bunch of unfavorable circumstances and then rise and overcome it. But when your life is comfortable and easy, you have to do those things onto yourself. You have to put yourself through these uncomfortable situations to give you this pain. Now, I appreciate that I talked a lot, I gave a lot of advice, and it might be a bit overwhelming. I can open your mind to what's possible. I can give you a vague roadmap to follow, but the best results will always come if I can know your exact bottlenecks and what to tell you in your specific situation. I can't do the work for you. I can only lay out the path, and I can work with you to help speedrun your journey. So click the link below. Maybe we'd be a good fit to work together. However, only apply if you're serious. I only work with committed guys who want results and are willing to go all in. Let's go, bro. I hope you have an amazing day.